Hello again, I'm Mike and I am the Sports History Collector. Today we're doing something a little different for the Athletes of War series. We are honoring the two Major League Baseball players that died in battle during World War II. I won't be showing any cards, they didn't play long enough to have any, and I won't be showing any autographs because the number for each can probably be counted on one hand. What I am going to do is tell you their story and honor them on this Memorial Day weekend. Between them, they played a total of 6 games in the big leagues. Harry O'Neill's Major League Baseball career lasted all of 2 innings as a defensive replacement for the Philadelphia Athletics in 1939. 1 game, 0 at-bats. Think Moonlight Graham from Field of Dreams. Elmer Gedeon's stat line wasn't much fuller. The one-time Washington Senator center fielder did get some swings in, delivering 3 hits and 1 RBI in 15 at-bats before his big league ledger was complete that same summer. Although their brief careers would be described as cups of coffee, O'Neil and Gedeon would earn places in baseball history after they left the diamond. They would become tragic figures forever linked. Their sacrifices would be ultimate, far more significant than ones listed in the box score. Of the roughly 500 major leaguers who fought in World War II, O'Neil and Gedeon would be the only 2 killed in combat. Although their base paths never crossed, O'Neil and Gedeon had much in common. Both had been 3 sports stars in college. O'Neil in baseball, football, and basketball at Gettysburg College in Pennsylvania, and Gedeon in baseball, football, and track and field at the University of Michigan, where he tied a world record in the high hurdles and was considered a prime candidate for the United States Olympic team. Both were tall for the times. O'Neil 6'3", Gedeon 6'4". Both signed professional contracts shortly after graduating from college in the spring of 1939, and both made their MLB debuts later that year. O'Neil taught American history and coached football, baseball, and basketball at Upper Darby Junior High School in suburban Philadelphia, while Gedeon returned to his college alma mater as an assistant football coach. Both became military officers, O'Neil rising to the ranks of first lieutenant in the U.S. Marine Corps, and Gedeon earned captain's bars in the U.S. Army Air Force. Both were awarded medals of heroism, and both were 27 years old at the time of their deaths, leaving many to wonder what might have been. After the last baseball season, Harry O'Neil resumed his teaching and coaching jobs. With the war escalating, he felt a call to duty and enlisted in the U.S. Marine Corps officer training school in September of 1942. While fighting in the Battle of Saipan 21 months later, he suffered a shrapnel wound and spent several weeks in the San Francisco hospital recuperating. He was awarded a Purple Heart and insisted on returning to the Pacific Theater after he recovered. On March 6, 1945, 11 days after American soldiers raised a flag atop Iwo Jima's Mount Suribachi, O'Neil and his fellow Marines fought a day-long skirmish to secure the rest of the island, which the Allies were using as a makeshift base to launch bombers to Tokyo, 750 miles to the north. While O'Neil sought cover in a deep crater, a sniper's bullet pierced his neck and killed him instantly. Originally buried in Iwo Jima, O'Neil's remains later were brought to Arlington Cemetery in Drexel Hill, Pennsylvania. In the fall of 1940, Elmer Gedeon returned to Michigan to coach the Wolverines receivers. In January 1941, nearly a year before Pearl Harbor, he was drafted into the Army. He was assigned to the cavalry, but wound up transferring to the pilot training program. During a training mission near Raleigh, North Carolina, on August 9, 1942, the B-25 bomber he was navigating clipped some pine trees and crashed into a swamp shortly after takeoff. He suffered 3 broken ribs, but managed to escape. When he realized one of his crewmates was missing, he crawled back into the fiery wreckage and dragged him out. Gedeon suffered severe burns to his face, back, hands, and legs, some of which required skin grafts, and lost 50 pounds during his 12 weeks in the hospital. The Army awarded him the Soldier's Medal of Heroism and Bravery. Despite his harrowing experience, Gedeon was eager to return to action. Before departing for England in July of 1943, he stopped in Cleveland to visit relatives. "I had my accident. My bad luck's behind me," he told his cousin. "It's going to be good flying from now on." In a wire service story published around that time, Gedeon said he planned to resume his professional baseball career if the war doesn't last too long. 10 months later, he would fly his last mission. Gedeon took off from Borum, an airfield in Chesterfield, England, along with 35 other B-26 bombers on April 20th, 1944. They were headed to Esquerdis, France, a launch site for the V-1 buzz bombs Adolf Hitler used to terrorize England with. After Gedeon's plane dropped its bombs, anti-aircraft fire ripped through its undercarriage. The plane burst into flames, and Gedeon and 5 of his crewmates died. Gedeon initially was reported as missing in action, and it wasn't until a year later his family received word his grave had been located in a small British Army cemetery in France. His remains were returned and buried in Arlington National Cemetery. How can you thank a soldier and his family for giving the ultimate sacrifice? All we can do is say thank you and remember to honor them and tell their stories. This has been the story of Harry O'Neil and Elmer Gedeon, 2 brave men that gave all for our freedom. Thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you soon.
You're reading this, my mama's sitting there. Looks like I only got a one-way ticket over here. I sure wish I could give you one more kiss. And war was just a game we played when we were kids. Well, I'm laying down my gun, hanging up my boots. I'm up here with God and we're both watching over you. So lay me down in that open field out on the edge of town. And though my soul is where my mama always prayed that it would go. If you're reading this, I'm already home. If you're reading this, halfway around the world, I won't be there to see the birth of our little girl. I hope she looks like you. I hope she fights like me and stands up for the innocent and the weak. I'm laying down my gun, I'm hanging up my boots. Tell Dad I don't regret that I followed in his shoes. So lay me down in that open field out on the edge of town. And oh, my soul is where my mom always prayed that it would go. If you're reading this, I'm already